Hello fam, and welcome to my still as yet unfully furnished and decorated house. You know, sometimes you get caught in a creative, I don't want to use the word malaise because I have concepts of what I want to do. Well, here, let me show you what I'm talking about before I start rambling on about the real subject of this video. The real subject of the video, by the way, is the first time I'm not offering something that is upcycled. This is an original piece, brand new to the world, only worn by me for this promotional purposes and photographed and everything. This, of course, for those of you who know, is a grizzly jacket. And I've become obsessed with these over the last, I don't know, 3 months or whatever. Whereas initially I thought they were weird looking and silly, and now I cannot get enough of them, and I hope that I can pass that on to you. And of course, if you've been following me for a while, you know that normally I'm on here harping about upcycle this, upcycle that, upcycle whatever. This is not upcycled. This is brand new to the world. And it is lambskin. It's not horsehide, steerhide, calf skin, any other type. It is the most supple and potentially, if you don't take care of it, the most fragile of the major leather hides used for garments. And you can see that this thing, you can see from the stitching, hope that focuses in. You can definitely see the stitching here. This is handmade. These take normally a little over a week. This one, because the actual fur portion of this is more plush than normal. I worked with them on trying to find some sort of normal variation, because generally these guys that I've worked with to make these kind of stick with this color and this pattern, and it's very fitted. It's almost European in its fit. And so depending on your body type and how you communicate to me, them, your sizing and whatnot, because I'll be definitely selling these through my websites along with variations, will determine the fit. And of course the camera's angled down, so it's making me, whether you realize it or not, I'm a little wider in the hips than what would normally be if I elevate this. And I'm the guy always messing with the camera too much in my videos. Okay, it's a little bit better. So now you get a little bit better understanding of the drape and proportions and all this and how this all fits. And I was initially gonna wear a pair of seersucker pants for this video, but the color contrast with these linen pants, and what you've seen before, was just more spectacular, explosive, had more pizzazz. And while I'm here, I'll show you my as yet unimpressive, but still semi-impressive new home. And floor couch, video game inspired. Look at how you moved over. I thought chair, yeah, front door. All my leather stuff. Well, this thing, in addition to, I thought I had this locked down a little bit more. Whatever, I'll just hold it. Light and shelf with a record player. And then in the back, there's 2 rooms that are basically empty rooms. I do have a bed, of course. And there's my bike, which I love to go biking at the lake when you see those videos. I got these awesome plates in the kitchen, electric stove, not gas. I don't know why it's not gas stoves, but these plates are so cool because the handle separates and you can, 1 or 2 handles for the several plates. It's just really cool and avant-garde, and I can't wait to cook things in here other than what's on my really cool looking microwave, which I didn't show you. But yeah, it's a master bedroom with couch, and I mean, I'm still very much in boxes mode. And then of course, the second bedroom is like a work area. I've got a bunch of sewing stuff in there. Sergers and machines capable of leather, working with leather thicker than this. You know, lambskin is such that it's so thin and supple that you could almost work with just a regular heavy duty. You don't need anything really heavy duty designed for leather to manufacture lambskin. So why aren't I making them myself? I've got plenty of course, as you know, I've got plenty of artisans here locally in Texas that can make these jackets. The plan is, of course, as I've talked about, my own variation. This will be what I sell as your traditional sort of in the box square classic rendition of the grizzly jacket. And then of course you've got my own variation of it because I'm crazy and I do my own stuff. Yes, that was fun. I'm crazy, I am. So here's how it's gonna go down. I've got this, which is the grizzly jacket and how it vibes and what it is. Okay, and then for the people who are like me, a little bit more crazy, I will have bear with me a minute. Thank you for viewing my messy home. This is a beautiful linen white shirt that I have not shown you. Of course, you've seen this before if you follow me. You know what this is. This is a heavy horsehide, handmade by me, variation of what I'm going to call a Terry jacket. And the difference is that both how it connects and this design, this pattern will be very different. The Terry jacket will be much heavier leather. And when they do a grizzly jacket, they tend to not do this. Where on my jacket, you see you've got these portions of the hide where it's just without fur. No two Terry jackets need to be the same, and so you'll have entire portions where it's half fur. It'll still, of course, be a heavy jacket. I'm using heavier grade leather, and that's where you get your durability from. It has just the lining. You can't see that. There's just the lining, and then the back, the exterior of the hide. Here, it'll be a complete leather jacket with the added weight and oomph and earth, like a damn barbarian, of steel supple, heavy horsehide or whatever, with the leather on top of it, with, you know, areas. It'll be more variation and a completely different, similar feel, but just a completely different expression. Same but different, not better, not worse, just different, but definitely heavier. I would never do a Terry jacket out of lambskin. This is much lighter, and you get more mileage out of this as far as the seasonality. And you definitely, and I've said this before in many of my other videos, there's actually a lot of circulation that will come through this, these portions of the jacket, both the front and the back with the fur, and actually cool you when you're out and it's a little bit warm, or help you warm up with a little bit cool. It's a fantastic ideal for circulation. That's not actually going to be a thing with this. You'll wear this theoretically in the same situations you would have worn one of those heavy motorcycle jackets from there. See that? And this is very beautiful. I love that color. And I still have modifications to do to this one. This is very much a prototype that I will continue to work on. And I'm hoping you've remained in the video this long, because of course I've got Terry tote bags too, that of course are silvage denim. You know, I am nothing if not ambitious. And there I've shown you both my house, which is still very much a work in progress, and a lot of my accoutrements, my jaquettes. What I love about a grizzly jacket is that it tells a story just in its design, because of course, centuries ago, let's say around the time of Shakespeare, from the medieval time to the time of Shakespeare, and even probably before, standard wear of the day was just sort of a heavy, breathable cotton, what we would call now sort of like a sleeping t-shirt, went down to about here, and that was what you were wearing. And then based on the variation of the season and temperature, you threw on hides above that. Of course, you had a coat, and a smaller coat became known as just like a jaquette. You know, I mean, I'm greatly paraphrasing and simplifying, and, you know, I will, you know, of course, get more into the details of the history of this, but you would just throw on a hide over this, almost kind of like a vest, and the hide sometimes would have kind of like the Terry jacket, the fur still attached, yes or no, or you would have the fur on the outside. This is kind of like before the jackets, the leather jackets that have become famous. This is almost like a step backwards, an evolutionary phase, because of course, as I've said, these were popular from the turn of the century, around 1900. You know, I mean, these were being worn by outdoorsy men and hunter types before while the Titanic was being built. And from that period of time, the Titanic, the Wright brothers, the birth of flight, all of that stuff, From that period of time up until World War II, this type of thing was as common as any normal leather jacket you'd see today, or tech clothing. If you're a tech bro, you're tech type, because this was considered high tech wear. What do you call it? The Gorp core, whatever core. I mean, that's for the edgy fashion people, all the different cores and everything. And you might be following things way too closely if you know the different cores at every given time. But you can see that this is incredibly flattering, despite the fact that it's incredibly fitted. And so, for those of you who like this look, whether you're a traditional heritage clothing guy or not, and I don't know how many of you still follow me because I have spoken reams about some of the quirks about the heritage clothing community, what they like, what they prefer, what they ignore, you know, I feel like in a lot of ways it's just a same old uniform, which is cool, you know. I mean, like I said, and I'm moving this to a better background. The silhouette on this that I'm wearing is a 1930s, decades old silhouette, and you would have seen this being worn by men for decades, especially with this type of jacket. And this thing is much less permanent today, but of course I've got the silhouette here. But these are linen pants with, of course, Ralph Lauren Ranger boots that I've upcycled, but will be keeping. I won't force you on any more upcycling adventures. But you see how these boots, military inspired, but they've got a buckle. Very handsome and underappreciated, as the heritage people just go for, you know, Thursday boots, Wednesday boots, Tuesday, whatever day of the week it is, and some of those other makers, all of which is really nice. But another weird thing about heritage stuff, and I'm not coming for you if you're a heritage guy, is that these are basically the type of people, you remember the comedy show The Office? That's the no insult, but you know, these are just regular upper middle class guys who sit on their butts all day. It's not like they're outdoorsy type people, and that's no insult. It's just regular, you know, regular dudes. But a lot of them produce content and videos talking about the durability and the ruggedness of the stuff, and it just comes across as not entirely disingenuous, but ill-informed, because as a retired military guy who's been forced to wear uniform items that are uncomfortable for the sake of durability, utility over comfort, you know, over anything, aesthetics, anything in the military, to hear a content created by someone who's never, you know, really gotten into that and pushed themselves, it just comes across as, yeah, I get it, but I don't want to pay $600 for a pair of leather boots. The most awesome pair of boots I have are the ones you've seen worn by me that are Vietnam era jungle boots. First edition, you know, from the 60s. And I spent an hour upcycling them. And don't worry, I'm not going to push that on you, no more of that. And they are awesome, as are these Ralph Lauren Ranger boots, simple, basic leather, you know, especially when you're talking about if it's horsehide or heavier leather. For the average person, that's all you need. Now, if you're hiking over extended periods of time, and I mean months, not an occasional weekend hiker, or even walking, you know, all the time, you know, it's either you walking or public transportation, then you want to start looking into factors of how the boots are made. But other than that, you know, as long as you like the look and it lasts as long as how you can wear it, it's fine. But like I said, this is hand stitched, and usually when they do it slowly and are careful about how it's hand stitched, it will last a lifetime. But, you know, there are going to be variations on it. There'll be variations where, you know, little flaws, and there'll be times where some of the hand stitching, especially if you don't store this on a hanger, some of the stitching will start to unravel. It's the reality of it. But again, if you want something that's precision made and pumped out, a quiz for you before I end the video at 15 minutes. Between a car like a Ferrari or a Rolls, let's go back to the 1950s and 60s. Let's imagine we're in the golden age, which for a lot of people is not the golden age, especially my people. But we're in the golden age of Americana, which a lot of people seem to want to harp on. 40s, 50s, 60s, early 70s. So you've still got a lot of things handmade. Between the two vehicles, Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, or your standard Chevrolet or Ford, which has more precision parts? The answer is the mass-produced one, because they have to mass-produce them to a standard for precision because it's mass produced. Whereas handmade vehicles, Rolls Royces and Ferraris, if something comes out and it's a little bit wrong, they're taking more care to adjust it, but a lot of times no two parts are the same. That's not precision. That's handmade. That's personal singular adjustment. Yes, you're getting superior attention to detail, but if you make 100 of these jackets or 100 Rolls Royces or 100 Ferraris and everything's handmade, you're also introducing more possibilities of human error into it. Again, that's not something that you have content creators normally talking about, especially when they're trying to push luxury on you. A Birkin bag, so, if they're all completely handmade, then 7, 8, 10 out of every 200 Birkin bags made, to really, not to insult you if you like Birkin bags, are just gonna have minor flaws. It doesn't mean it's a complete piece of crap, doesn't mean it still doesn't hold that amazing value. But we're in an era where everyone is sort of used to looking at what I'm filming this with, phones, and unlike a guy like me, I've got that 40-year-old Corvette back there and stuff like that. I'm forced to sort of rethink a lot of these things and not just be a follower for luxury, vintage things. A lot of these sub-brands, selvage denim and handmade leather stuff, like a lot of people are. And if you stayed with me this long in the video, hopefully you will be buying some of this stuff and understand where I'm coming from. So here we are at about 14 minutes. I'm going to put this on my YouTube and some of my other social media. And I hope that you will join me for this adventure, as these are now for sale. This one is for sale. And I'll, of course, have the dimensions and measurements available. Right now, you can just sort of grab this off of eBay, and I'll work on much nicer, more avant-garde, classier stuff for my own blog and webpage in the future. But au revoir. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.